Beloved, there is a power that does not shout, does not demand attention. It does not need the applause of others to validate its worth. This power is born in silence. It is the quiet discipline of a person who has chosen to master themselves rather than seek recognition from the world. We live in a time when everything is loud. Success is posted, progress is displayed, and even dreams are shouted into the air before they are ripe enough to bear fruit. Yet, true mastery does not need noise. True strength grows in stillness. The seed does not announce its sprout, yet one day it becomes a forest. The sun rises silently every morning, yet it governs all life on earth. Winning in silence means learning the art of discipline when no one is watching, staying focused when no one applauds, and walking steadily toward your vision even when no one believes in you. It is the commitment to growth without the need for validation. Now, let me share with you 6 truths about winning in silence. 1, silence is strength, not weakness. But silence is often misunderstood. Many believe that silence is the absence of power, the lack of a voice, yet in reality, silence is one of the greatest demonstrations of strength. The truth is only the strong can remain silent. It is the pursuit, fearful state, and certain constantly wants their back. The one who knows their worth has no need to prove it to them. The mountain does not roar, it commands its shift. The ocean does not argue, but it contains depth beyond. The sun does not announce its rising every morning, yet its light sustains all life. Silence is not empty, it's a powerful thing. It is the ability to stand firm without wasting energy on listening, or a rope to those who know the globe. Social media has made it so easy for people to announce every small step without an idea. But what is often forgotten is that true greatness does not need to be broadcasted. The oak tree grows strong in silence year after year until one day it towers above the landscape. Similarly, your growth, your discipline, your mastery, they are not meant to be paraded at every stage. They are sacred processes that require privacy. Silence also teaches you to master your ego. The ego thrives on attention, on being seen, on being applauded. But when you choose silence, you weaken the ego's grip. You shift your focus from external approval to inner certainty. And this is the essence of strength, to know within yourself that you are enough, that your journey is unfolding as it should, and that no audience is necessary for your progress to be real. Beloved, strength is not found in noise, but in the calm ability to stand alone. Winning in silence means you move forward without needing anyone to notice. It means you work without applause, grow without validation, and rise without announcement. One day your results will speak louder than any words ever could. And when that day comes, you will realize that silence was never weakness, it was the ultimate strength. 2, discipline is born in quiet moments, beloved. Discipline is not forged in front of an audience. It is not formed under the spotlight or in moments of celebration. Discipline is born in silence, in the quiet hours when no one is watching. It is shaped in the early mornings when the world is still asleep, in the late nights when distractions fade, and in the countless unseen choices that determine who you are becoming. Too many people mistake motivation for discipline. Motivation is loud, exciting, and often fleeting. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady, quiet, and enduring. It is not about how you feel in the moment, but about what you decide to do regardless of your feelings. And these decisions are made in silence. Think about the artist who paints long before anyone sees their work, the athlete who trains in the early hours, or the student who studies while their friends are out enjoying themselves. These quiet moments of practice, study, and perseverance are what shape excellence. The victories that people applaud are only the visible results of countless silent disciplines that came before them. When you choose discipline and silence, you are building a foundation that cannot be shaken. The world may not see the hours you spent preparing, the sacrifices you made, or the struggles you endured, but eventually the results will be undeniable. And by then, you will realize that the quiet discipline was the true victory all along, beloved. Winning in silence means honoring those unseen hours. It means respecting the process enough to give it your all, even when there is no applause. It means showing up for yourself, not for recognition, but for transformation. The world may not notice the seeds you plant in silence, but one day they will see the forest that grows from them. And when they ask how you did it, your answer will be simple discipline born in silence. 3, focus requires withdrawing from distraction, beloved. If you want to win in silence, you must learn to master focus. And focus is impossible in the midst of endless distractions. The truth is, noise is the enemy of focus. Every time you compare yourself to someone else, every time you get caught in meaningless conversations, every time you allow your attention to scatter, you weaken your power. Focus demands silence. To focus is to say no. No to the unnecessary, no to the distracting, no to the shallow pleasures that steal your time and energy. Focus is about creating boundaries so that you can protect your mental space. It is about withdrawing from the chaos of the world and turning inward toward your own vision. Beloved, when you step into silence, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You can finally hear your own thoughts, your own intuition, your own calling. The world is filled with voices telling you who you should be, what you should want, and how you should live. But only in silence can you discover what your soul is truly asking for. Winning in silence means you are willing to step back from distractions so that you can step fully into your purpose. It means you create an environment where focus thrives, free from constant comparison, free from unnecessary noise, free from the chaos that pulls you away from your path. And in that focus, you will find the strength to build a life that speaks for itself. Beloved, one of the greatest traps in life is the constant craving for validation. We have been conditioned to believe that our efforts only matter if they are noticed, liked, or applauded by others. We announce our goals before we begin, we share our process before it matures, and we seek approval before we have achieved anything of substance. But the truth is this: the world does not need to approve your efforts for them to be real. Your journey is sacred. It belongs to you, and it does not require the permission or acknowledgement of anyone else. When you constantly seek validation, you hand over your power, you allow others to dictate your worth, your progress, and even your self-belief. And what happens if they disapprove? What happens if they doubt you? You lose your footing, not because you lacked ability, but because you placed your faith in their opinions instead of your own. Beloved, winning in silence means learning to protect your efforts from the eyes of the world until they are strong enough to stand on their own. It means resisting the urge to broadcast your every step, and instead allowing your growth to unfold in private. The seed does not expose itself while it is still vulnerable beneath the soil. It waits until it is strong enough to break through. And so must you. Understand this: your work is sacred. Your dreams are delicate in their early stages. To expose them too soon is to risk weakening them. But when you nurture to them in silence, when you commit to the process without distraction, they grow roots that no one can shake. One day your results will be so undeniable that they will speak louder than any announcement ever could. The world's approval is fleeting, but your inner approval lasts forever. When you no longer need to prove your worth, you become unstoppable. Winning in silence means your progress is no longer dependent on applause. It means you trust your journey enough to keep moving even when no one notices. And eventually, when the fruit of your labor appears, the world will not just approve, it will marvel. Quiet persistence outlasts loud motivation, beloved. It is easy to start with enthusiasm. Anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can talk loudly about their plans for a week. Anyone can post their goals online for a month. But persistence, true, quiet, unshakable persistence, that is rare. And it is persistence, not loud motivation, that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Motivation is like a spark, bright, exciting, but temporary. Persistence is the flame that endures, even when the winds of doubt and delay blow against it. Winning in silence means you no longer chase fleeting bursts of energy. Instead, you build a steady rhythm that carries you through the seasons of life. Beloved, persistence is not glamorous. It is not dramatic. It does not draw attention. Persistence looks like showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It looks like working quietly while others are sleeping, practicing when no one is watching, and continuing when no one is applauding. It is the quiet decision, repeated over and over, to stay the course. Those who rely only on motivation will eventually burn out, because motivation is external. It depends on circumstances, feelings, or inspiration, but persistence is internal. It comes from disciplined vision and a deep commitment to something greater than temporary emotions. This is why persistence always wins. It does not matter how slow you move, as long as you do not stop. Beloved, your quiet persistence will outlast the loud declarations of others. While some shout their goals but abandon them after the first difficulty, you will keep going silently, steadily, consistently. And one day, the results of your persistence will be so evident that the same people who doubted you will ask how you achieved it. Remember this: it is not the loudest who wins, but the most consistent. Your persistence is your greatest weapon. Let it be quiet, it be steady. Let it carry you forward when motivation fades. That is how you win in silence. 6. The silent winners let their results speak, beloved. The greatest proof of success is not in results. When you win in silence, you no longer feel the need to explain, argue, or prove yourself. You let your life be the evidence. You let your results be your testimony. And in doing so, you discover a freedom that those who constantly seek validation will never know. There is no need to tell the world what you are building when one day the world will see it for themselves. There is no need to argue with doubters when your transformation will silence every voice of disbelief. The silent winners know this truth: results speak louder than any explanation, louder than any defense, louder than any announcement. Beloved, silence is not hiding. Silence is preparation. Silence is allowing your work to grow strong enough that it speaks on its own. And when it does, Your results will not just speak, they will shout without you ever having to open your mouth. The most powerful people in history were often those who worked quietly, steadily, with focus and discipline, until their results became undeniable. They did not waste their energy trying to convince others, they invested in becoming. And when the time was right, the world could not ignore what they had created. Winning in silence means becoming so focused on your growth that you no longer care about proving anything. You do not chase recognition. You do not need applause. You simply build, grow, transform, and then let the results shine for themselves. Beloved, when people ask how you achieved it, you will smile because you will know the truth in your results were born in silence, nurtured in discipline, and protected in focus. You will not need to explain. Your life will be the answer. Silence has always carried within it a sacred power. In silence, the deepest truths of life are whispered. In silence, the roots of discipline take hold. In silence, focus sharpens, persistence strengthens, and transformation begins. The noise of the world will try to convince you that success must be shouted, displayed, and validated by others. But real success does not need an audience. It does not need applause. It does not even need recognition. True success is born, nurtured, and completed in silence. Winning in silence means you are no longer swayed by opinions. You no longer measure your worth by how many people of your efforts. You no longer waste energy proving yourself to those who do not see your vision. Instead, you move forward with quiet certainty. You build when no one is watching. You persist when no one believes. You plant seeds in the dark, trusting that one day the harvest will arrive. And when it does, beloved, you will not need to announce it. Your results will speak. Your transformation will speak. The life you have created will become its own testimony. The very people who doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge the strength that was cultivated in your silence. Do not fear being unseen in this season of growth. Do not fear the quiet. The oak tree does not fear the dark soil, for it knows the soil is where its strength begins. You too must honor your silent seasons, because they are shaping the person you are destined to become. So I say to Yug, embrace the silence, guard your discipline, protect your focus, persist when no one claps, and when the world finally sees the life you have built, you will realize something profound. You never needed the noise. You never needed the approval. You never needed the spotlight, because you had something greater than the strength of quiet discipline, the clarity of focus, and the unwavering persistence that only silence could give you. Beloved, win in silence, and let the life you live become the loudest sound the world will ever hear.